Hello everybody.
Hello.
So today we're gonna do a video talking about our labor and delivery story. So I'm gonna quickly recap on the last video where we left off. So in that video I was 39 weeks pregnant and we had just came back from a doctor's appointment. So I had a doctor's appointment that following week, which was on my due date on the 40th week. So I wasn't planning on making it to that appointment. Even my doctor was like, if you make it, this will be your appointment date. So starting on that week, I was already feeling gigantic and I was working from home. I work on a computer, so that week we started doing everything we could possibly do to induce labor. So I was working, sitting on a fitness ball. So I was on it for hours at a time. I would bounce on the ball. We would walk every day. We went to a gigantic mall and we walked for 2 hours. Now, when you're 40 weeks pregnant, that's a very long time. So I was doing all of this. What else did I do? Shoot, I know. Oh, I did squats at home. I did all these things to induce labor and nothing was happening. But so I was doing all of this, so by the time that appointment came, I was, I just wanted to be dilated and we would go to the hospital. So, no judgment, but I also took castor oil and guess what? Still nothing. So, yeah, so the day came, we went to the doctor and I was like, all right, I'm probably dilated or something. And he checks me and I was still the same, no progress. My cervix was soft, but it was still high, and the baby was high. So she was not ready to come out. I was very sad, very depressed, and it was just a lot of pressure. So I was very disappointed, and then my doctor asked us, like, how do you feel? And I told him, doctor, like, I want her out. And he's like, well, of course she's gonna come out. Like, we're not gonna let this go past 4 or 5 days, And I was just being negative and I was like, oh my god, he's just saying that I'm gonna be pregnant for like a whole other month. And so he sent me home and he was like, don't worry, just track the baby's movements and we'll go on from there. So I tracked her movements for 5 days, and then next thing you know, I'm 41 weeks and it was Sunday and I was 40 weeks 6 days. And he's like, you know what, just go to the hospital and go get a non-stress test. So that's pretty much when they strap you up and they check the baby's heart rate and your heart rate, I guess, your contractions, everything.
And they make you feel like you're in the same person.
Yeah. Really?
Strap you down. I mean, come on.
Strap your belly. They strap your belly. So we went, it was 10 in the morning when we walked in. Now, typically when people have women have non-stress tests, is because there's something wrong. They have low blood sugar or something. The baby's heart rate is in danger. I don't know. So I walk in and these nurses are like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm 40 weeks, 6 days. And they're like, okay. And then I'm like, I don't know, my doctor just wants me to come here and do this. And now my doctor, my OB, is very like, on top of things. So they were just like, okay, whatever. They just, did set me up and did everything, but I didn't really need to do that, but whatever. We did it anyway. It was pretty boring. There was nothing wrong. And yeah, like my water never broke. I never had contractions. So there was no contractions to like look at. I never lost my mucus plug. My cervix was never dilated, so I was just there like if I was 20 weeks pregnant, but I was almost 41. So he was there. It was pretty boring.
Not for me, okay? It was not boring at all. At all.
He was being supportive, but we were just there. So
my baby's coming, man, and this is my baby too. Like, come on, it was not boring.
I just felt like she wasn't coming.
No.
So they asked me if I had eaten, and I ate right before going, so I was like, uh-oh, why are they asking me this? So they asked me to come back at 3 p.m. so that was a couple hours from the time we were there, and they were like, you're gonna have a baby today. So after a couple ultrasounds, they told me that this baby was gonna be 10 pounds. Now, I'm very petite. I'm 5 feet tall. I weighed like 117 before being pregnant, and So they were like, oh my god, you're gonna have a huge baby, this and that. And I was like, whatever, I just want her out. And they scheduled a C-section, and it wasn't because of any complications. It wasn't pressured on me to have a C-section. I was desperate, and I was up for it. And who knows, you know, like, if I were to be induced, it would have taken hours, maybe days, because it would have been a very slow process.
Everything happens for a reason, and I believe that this was the way to go. And at the end of the day, I didn't want her going another day with this baby, and because it was stressing me out seeing her stressed out.
Yeah, some hospitals don't let you go past a certain amount, and the next day I was gonna be 41 weeks, and that next day they had like 9 C-sections scheduled, so I wouldn't have made it. I would have had to keep waiting. So I mean,
we were told also the day that we went, there was nothing going on.
No, I was literally the only one there. It was crazy. So
we had pure freedom and everything, and I think that was just the best time for us to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, so we came back home, and we were just like all smiles. Like, we were both like smiling so big, and we just prepared everything, got our hospital bags, and showered, and then next thing you know, we're on our way back to the hospital. And
she's here, by the way.
Yeah, she's like sleeping right there. We're gonna show you the baby at the end of this video.
But you're gonna have to suffer and wait till the end of the video.
So we go back to the hospital, and oh yeah, so I wasn't allowed to eat at all. So oh my god, if I go like past 3 hours without eating, like I get acid reflux, I just get like hangry. It gets really bad. I get nauseous. Like, I can literally throw up out of hunger. So I wasn't allowed to eat. I didn't eat anything for hours. So we get there, and they take me to a room where I have to pretty much, a prep room. So that room had, you know, various curtains, various beds, and they were all empty. I had the hospital to myself. It was crazy. So they lay me down, they make me change into a gown, and again, you know, strap my belly just to monitor everything. Everything was totally normal. There was nothing exciting going on. And then he was hungry. He was hungry, and he hadn't eaten since I hadn't, but he could eat. You know, I was only allowed to eat like ice chips or something. So while they were prepping me, I think he went to the cafe, right? You went to the cafe.
Oh man, and I had a lunch, let me tell you.
Yeah, he didn't come back for a while. He was like, I didn't think it was fair, and I was in the prep room like alone for a while. Not a whole hour, but I would say like 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So he didn't.
And that's because I was eating fast. Because I'm telling you, there was a long line because everybody was at lunch from the doctor's office. So I was in a line with a whole bunch of nurses and stuff. And anyway, I got the food.
Yeah, he came back. There was nothing. I'm like, you ate? And he was like, yeah, I just didn't think it was fair to eat in front of you. So I had a nurse.
I think I made the right decision.
Probably. I had a nurse put an IV on me. She put a bunch of things. She put like an acid stabilizer or something in the IV, so that kind of took the hunger pain away. And then I had to go through 2 like water IVs or whatever in order.
Bags of water.
Yeah, bags of water for me to be ready. So I'm just sitting there. I think when she put the IV in my hand, that was like the most painful thing in the world. Yeah, so then I was just waiting. She prepped me, and then after that, my OB walks in, and he asked me how I'm doing. He tells me what's gonna happen, and I was just, you know, I was just calm, like, all right, I'm ready. So he's like, all right, and then he leaves. Then an anesthesiologist, that's how you say it, right?
Yeah.
Walks in. Very tall guy, like kind of quirky but serious. I don't know, he was just weird. He walks in and he's like, all right, so this is what's gonna happen, and he starts explaining to me like everything he's gonna do. And then he told me, I knew the moment he said, and then we're gonna put a needle this tiny on your back. I knew he was freaking lying. Like, I've never heard of a needle. Come on, epidural.
When they're doing an incision in your back, when they're gonna put a needle, usually even the smallest of needles are at least, from what I read, 12 inches long.
It wasn't an epidural needle. Come on. He was like, yeah, we're gonna put a needle this big, this tiny, and I was just like, yeah, my ass, whatever. So.
I don't know if he was tapping into your spine. If he wasn't, it definitely was a long needle. If not, it probably was short. Yeah. I gotta do a little more research. Any of you C-section ladies or labor ladies know those needles are this big. So yeah, so he walks in, and then
he's like, and do you have any other questions? And I was like, is it a local anesthesia? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, am I gonna be able to move my arms? And he's like, oh yeah, of course, you're gonna be numb from the chest down. I was like, okay. So after that, I was just, you know, wait, and then they bring me a bag to put all my belongings in, and they bring me a bag with his like blue gown thing with the hairnet and everything. So they made him change. Oh yeah, and our nurse, like, I think this is like a maternity or mother and baby nurse thing, but they kept calling me mommy and him daddy. The moment she was like, okay daddy, change into these, I was like, what? Yeah, but like, just kidding. Yeah, so he changed. I went to pee, and then next thing you know, we're not together anymore. Where'd you go?
Oh my god, honestly, they kept us away, and the longer that I was away...
No, but like after we left the prep room, they took me. Where did you go? Like, did they tell you to go to the waiting room?
I waited outside. They told me to go to the waiting room, but I waited outside.
But you went to talk to your family and stuff. Like his
just
mom
told them
was
from a distance, but I stayed there, and
like
then...
outside the door?
Yeah, and then eventually they told me, okay, we're ready for you. At this moment, I'll let her explain what she remembers, then I'll explain what I...
Oh yeah, so I started following the nurse, and she started getting very friendly with me. I know that's a tactic when you're about to have surgery. Like, they just start like talking to you, I guess, to calm you down. But she like got very personal with me, and I was just like, oh yeah, we're going to the room. Because she was like,
so what's your baby's name? What a beautiful name. Oh my god, my niece's name is this and that. I don't have kids yet, but blah blah blah. And
I know some people are friendly, but she was very like, we were like best friends out of nowhere. So we walk into this room, I swear it was the size of a lobby. Like, it was huge. I know there was music in there. I don't remember what kind. Probably pop.
They asked you what you wanted to hear.
Really? Oh
yeah.
god, I do not remember. So I don't know what they were playing. It was either pop or rock. Like, that's all I listened to. So or maybe it was rap, I don't know. So
but at this moment you were probably feeling the...
No, I had just walked in, but all I had was an IV on me, that's it. So I walk in, room is huge, and I see those giant like LED lights. The room was white, like it looked like I was dead, like out in heaven. Like, it was so white, everything was LED. The LED lights were like just shining down, and they take me to a bed where I had to sit, and they wanted me to like crunch up. So the nurse is in front of me, and she's kind of hugging me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And the anesthesiologist comes, and he stands right behind me, and he starts explaining. This is what I loved. He started telling, like, before he would do something, he would tell me what he was doing or about to do, and he would tell me exactly what I was gonna feel. So he was like, all right, so I'm gonna do this right now, and then you're gonna feel numbness. I'm gonna do this, you're gonna feel heavy. And then he was like, oh, you're gonna feel this, and then you're gonna feel like very tingling sensation. I think it was an epidural needle, because he, like, as soon as whatever he did back there, oh my god, I just remember hugging the nurse back and being like, ow, 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 ow. Like, it just stung so bad for like maybe 10 seconds, and then it went away. So he did everything. Then they laid me down, and they're like, all right, you're gonna feel, your legs are gonna feel really heavy, and you're gonna feel really weird. So I laid down, and I'm like, yeah, right. And I'm like, you know what, I do feel really weird. And then boom, my legs were numb, like they just felt like rocks, you know. And they're like, oh, if you get nauseous or anything or dizzy, let us know. And I'm like, all right, yeah, you know. And I didn't think I was gonna get nauseous or dizzy. And I'm like, I look, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting nauseous. And the nurses run and put a bag next to my face, and I was like, blah! Like, I just start throwing up, but there was nothing since I hadn't eaten. It was just pure spit. So that was happening, and I just see the curtains go up, and like, if you know of a C-section, they put a curtain from your chest down, and it's a blue curtain, so you can't see what they're doing. So, you know, they're just like, oh, you're gonna feel tugging and pulling, that's it. But, you know, they never really, that I know of, maybe they did do the touching test to see if I would react, but they never told me they were doing it. So I guess since I didn't react, they're like, she's good. But I kind of like didn't. My biggest fear was feeling the incision, feeling everything. So I kind of just like went ahead and touched my butt, and just to make sure I was numb, and I didn't feel it. I felt like I was touching another person. It was crazy.
That's freaky.
Yeah, it just felt rubbery, like a fake human, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then, so I just tried to keep my mind off what was going on, and I just, you know, just looked around and just thought about like ponies and horses, and, you know, just so I wouldn't freak out, because if I thought about what they were doing on that other side, God knows if my blood pressure would have dropped, or it would have gotten very ugly. I would have probably had a freak out, and everything would have gone downhill, and I just cared about the baby's health. So I think after this, we're going to talk about your version, and you're going to tell us up to where you walked into the room. So you were waiting outside this whole time that this was happening, and then
somebody popped open the door, and I just see a hand go like this and say daddy. So
see, I didn't know any of this.
So of course I start going. I already have my gown on and everything, my little freaking hat, and then I get next to her and she's like, hi. From that moment I knew she was drugged up, because she was just like too calm for the situation. So of course I get next to her, I hug her, and then I get her hand and I start kissing it, and then I hear something going on there, and next thing you know, they're like, you know, I see the anesthesiologist just grab my hand and he's like, look, come here.
Oh wait, okay, so that was when, okay, so before that, so I'm laying down, and so like he said, he walked in, so in my version, he comes and I see him, and I'm like, oh my god, hi, I was so happy to see him. So what was going on in my head was, like I said, I was trying to think positive. Mind you, I'm getting cut open on the other side, so that's all I knew. I didn't want to think about the graphics of it or what was happening, so he comes and sits next to me, and curtains up so he can't see past it. So I'm like, so babe, how's everything? How's your family? You know, I just start having a casual conversation with him, like casual as hell, like it's another day. And he was like freaking out. I see him freaking out, and I'm like, and his eyes got watery, and I'm like, babe, please don't do this. So he told me that he couldn't believe the way I was acting, like, hello, don't you know what's happening over there? Like, you know, it was very emotional.
She caught me off guard.
Yeah, so he was just freaking out, and I told him, I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to keep calm, because this can go 0 to 100 real quick.
Just to let you guys know, I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't even like saying it.
No, he
I
was
wasn't
just
letting
like,
her know anything. What I was inside, I was blowing up. I was like a firecracker. But outside, I was like, oh, I'm so calm. Bullshit. I was going insane inside. Only because she tripped me out with how calm she was about it.
I wasn't calm, but I you
knew
know,
what was
everything's
going
in your
on.
mind, and I was zen. So, mind you, on the other side, I feel my body going like this. Like they said, tugging and pulling, and that's exactly what I felt, but I didn't feel it. It's like if somebody grabs your clothes and pulls it, that's what I was feeling. I didn't feel the sensation of it. So, a couple moments went by, I was shaking, like it was really cold for me. I think it was the drugs, and I was really itchy. Like I kept scratching my face, and I realized later that anesthesia gets you itchy.
It's one of the side effects.
But I was scratching my face. I didn't know at the time what was wrong with me. So I think probably 15 minutes went by. I'm not sure. I had no recollection of time at that point, but that is when the anesthesiologist,
grabbed my hand and told me, look, come. As I was going up, I looked at her and she looked at me and she's like, no, wait.
Yeah, because I was like, he pretty much was telling him to get up and look. And I'm like, no. Is that going to be traumatizing for him? Because
at the end of the day, the anesthesiologist looked at me.
I had never heard of that before. Yeah.
Be a man, you know? So I got up. And I'm glad I looked, because I would have never forgotten that I didn't look, and I would have felt horrible. So I looked and I see her head. Okay.
The baby's head.
Yes, I see her head. And I see her start getting pulled. And then, fuck it, I'm already seeing it, so might as well go through the whole thing. And then they pull her out. Now, at first, I'm there holding her hand, you know, my wife's hand. And then I'm looking at the baby, but I don't see her reacting. So I'm freaking out inside. I see them getting the little mucus plug. They start getting all her mucus out, and then finally they turn her around, smack her a little bit, they move her around, and then finally a bubble came out, and then she went
Yeah.
That's when I felt like, you have no idea. I felt tingling sensation from the top of my head all the way to my toes, and I felt like I was gonna collapse. But I didn't, because what type of man does that? So I held her hand even tighter, and as I'm looking at the baby, you know, and she hears her, I'm so focused on the baby, I feel a couple little squeezes to my hand, and she, hello! And so I look down.
Yeah, so my version really quick. So we're in sync here. So the anesthesiologist like, yo man, come up. So I'm there like this, like literally laying down, and he's propped up, gets up, and you know, I don't hear anything. I just see him like, you know, crying, but like not sobbing or anything, but he was like teary-eyed and, you know, just excited. And I'm like, what? And then I finally hear, like, you know how newborns come out crying, they sound like that's all I heard. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god. So I'm here thinking they're gonna bring her over, or they're gonna raise her up on the curtain. I don't know how anybody else's experience has been, but this was mine. And he saw her, and I was squeezing his hand, and I'm like, babe, what does she look like? What do you see? Is she cute? Like, how big is she? Is she gigantic? And he wasn't reacting. He just kept looking, and I was like, hello. So he left me in the dark for a while, because after that, they grabbed him.
2 minutes.
They grabbed him, and then what was happening? Because when they grabbed him and took him away for what felt like 15 minutes, again, it could have been 2 minutes.
It was 2 minutes.
They took him away with the baby, and I was still laying down, and all I remember was the anesthesiologist. Yeah.
The anesthesiologist.
Yeah, he was like just chilling by me. He was always like there, I guess, to see if I was in pain or not. He was just looking at me like, you got this, you know, whatever. And he was texting and on his phone like, yeah, we can have dinner at midnight. I'm just here, you know, with a surgery. Yeah, you know, whatever. So that's what I was dealing with while he was enjoying the good part. So they took you, and I guess they were waiting.
I can't even say I was enjoying it, because to be honest with you, I just kept thinking about her, but it's what I have to do. I have no control over that. They took me away. Then I remember them putting the baby in the incubator. They completely took out her moquitos and everything, all that mucus. And then of course we're walking, and I'm asking about her, and they're telling me, listen, we have to prep her to be moved to the next room. Don't worry, she's good. Take the baby down to the hallway so your family can see her. Keep your mind off of it. She's gonna be all right. So of course I'm thinking about that.
Okay,
I go on my way.
Before you leave the room, oh no, okay, so yeah. So I didn't see him again. So he went to do all of that stuff, and he didn't leave the room yet. So they bring him over back to my side, and to put the baby on my chest. Now the thing that pissed me off, okay, it wasn't the end of the world, but you know, come on, I was babyless when she came out, and then they bring her over, and she was swaddled already, and she was wearing like her little bow. So I wanted my little naked baby on me, but it's okay, it's okay. So they put her on me, and she had the biggest bow in the world, and then we had a little photo shoot. Like, we were taking selfies with her and stuff. And mind you, this guy has big eyebrows, and the first thing I saw when they put that baby on my chest was the eyebrows. I was like, look at this little thing. And she was crying, and the moment they put her on my chest, she stopped. Like, she was just like, she was just staring at me, and I was staring at her, and I was like, oh my god. So we took a bunch of pictures. And then they took her away from me again, kept on with the surgery, and mind you, I had to keep a positive mind, so I didn't cry or anything, but yeah, then he disappeared again, and then I guess, oh, yeah, his whole family and my family were there. I would say there was about 10 to 15 people, right?
Probably a little more.
Yeah, so he's out of the room and she's in a little box, little incubator, and pretty much they were all waiting in the hallway and you were pushing the...
Okay, so I was with the doctor and she was the one pushing the baby. So of course, that's the way it is. As soon as I get to the family, her mom's out there with her camera open already. Then I see my mom, I see my dad, I see everyone. I see everyone. So this is the big moment. This is the big moment. Alina, you're gonna meet your family. It's okay, don't worry.
Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you guys, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. She looks just like...
She looks just like Kevin. She looks just like you. That's the craziest thing.
She's so calm. And of course, at that moment, I'm still teared up and I just want to be with my baby. So we're passing everybody. Everyone's looking at her. At our baby, of course. And said hi to her, gave their greetings, and then we were moved to another room. So by that time, the baby gets taken away from me, and I see her inside of a little nursery, you know, along with all the other babies in their separate incubators, and they're there taking care of her. But I'm seeing her cry and react as a normal baby. So at that moment, I was already good. I stayed there for like 5 minutes maybe before I started leaving and asking about her.
Yeah, so in between that, so surgery is still happening, and then out of nowhere the curtain this side drops and I freak out and I'm like, oh my god. So I didn't look and I picked it up and I was holding it. I was holding up the curtain, and I don't know, the anesthesiologist, oh god, I can't say that word.
Anesthesiologist.
Yeah, that one. He was like, oh, I don't know what he said, but I wasn't sure. So I thought it dropped by mistake and I was just holding it up like, nope, not trying to see that. So I held it up for about a minute, and then the other side dropped and they were wrapping up. So I'm like, wow. So they were done and they were like, no. So when they dropped it, I was sewed up already, so I didn't see anything. I was still naked or whatever, but they covered me up. And so I was on this, like, I don't know, like a plank, and they transferred me from the plank over to the other bed, the rolling bed, because I was numb. And yeah, I look to my side and I see my whole placenta just sitting there, and that's about it. Then they push me out of the room and I'm going down these halls, you know. Meanwhile, I'm in that room, I'm alone again, and what was going on was there was so many visitors that he had to take, because when she was in the nursery already, there was only 2 people at a time allowed. So he had to go from one side of the wing all the way to the other, right? That's what I heard.
For each of our family members.
Yeah, so he was doing this for like a whole hour.
And the whole time I was thinking about her, and I kept on saying, like, can I go see her? And they're like, no, give her time.
Yeah.
She needs to be okay. Meanwhile, I know she's freaking out, thinking, where the hell are you? So of course, I'm trying to get it as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And a las 9 la van a mover. I'm just here with the family, babe. Waiting for one more person, for Julissa. Gonna show her the baby, and everybody will be gone by 9. So I'll go see the room that we're in, then I'll go back downstairs, get everything out from the car, and come upstairs to be with you.
I mean, I wasn't freaking out. I was just like, why am I still alone? And I haven't seen my baby in like over 3 hours, because I had to be in the recovery room for 2 more hours. And pretty much they didn't let me go until I could lift up my legs, like lift up my knees. So that took 2 hours. So the baby was born at 6:13, and I didn't get transferred over to my room until 9 o'clock. So
she was in the room at 9, so it was over a little bit. Let's see, 6:13. Yeah, so she was there for like 2 hours, and to be fair, 47 minutes.
Yeah, I think those 47 minutes was the rest of the surgery. So yeah, so I go to our room, they take me, I sit propped up on this bed, and then you were in there already, or you came, and then they bring the little bassinet, the little glass bassinet with my baby, and I was like, oh my god. And she was so adorable. So after that, game over. We were with her for
24/7.
yeah.
As soon as I started recording, you know, you've been like that since day one. Are you gonna look for the cat? Are you gonna smile for the camera?
Make her look at you.
We were with her the whole time, and yeah, it was amazing. As soon as they put her on my, like, for breast, like to breastfeed, she latched on immediately. Like, it was the craziest thing. It was like a suction cup. Like, this was her head, and she was just like it was awesome. She's an awesome baby. It was a great experience, and we're just really happy. So she's a month now, and we're gonna show you guys our baby. I will talk about recovery and all of that in another video, but yeah, that was our labor and delivery experience.
Can't wait for the next one.
Alright, so we're gonna show you the baby. Alright guys, so this is my Nugget. She just woke up, but I had no choice.
Just so you guys could see, we did say you were gonna suffer until the end of the video.
I have no time. You know how it is, around the clock.
Hi, mama. Love you, baby.
Yeah, she just woke up, but I'll post like a lot of pictures of her with her eyes
Oh,
open.
we've been taking many.
But this is her. She's a month old today. Today is the 9th of October, but by the time I upload this video, it probably won't be the 9th anymore, but she's amazing. We love her. And I'll make more videos updating you guys on every month. Bye. Bye.